Who would have thought FPL pain delivered without an FPL game week occurring? Carnage galore, red cards, injuries, and maybe a possible shift change in the dynamics and how we use our chips that we're running. But for now, we've got the answers to all your possible questions with a bit of SideNet and maybe a cheeky sign involved. But more importantly, welcome to the Gameweek 28 edition of the FPL Addicts Podcast. That's a night I've saved my mind, showing Cunha the door. Well, there's a little snippet for later on, but more importantly, welcome back to yet another edition. We've got the Reidy, the guy who usually produces the Flames. Maybe not quite as much as the Flames shown on the CBS Golazo Champions League panel, but also we've got the SideNet. He's back for his usual installment. And let's bring the entourage in. First of all, SideNet, good morning to you on a caffeine high and a Chelsea high.
Yeah, morning, guys. I was venting before we went to air about how boring that first half of the Chelsea-Copenhagen game was. And, you know, being here in Australia, I set the alarm 4:40 a.m. to get up to watch that. And I was questioning every decision I've ever made in my life. But happy to say they won, 2-1 win to Chelsea. A few issues for some people thinking to captain Cole Palmer. No injury concerns, but it wasn't the best performance from Cole out there, but happy to be joining you both. Yeah, like you said, I'm high on caffeine. This is number 2. I said I smashed a banana before. Like I said, that wasn't a euphemism. I just had to quickly have a banana before we went to air. And happy to see everyone this morning.
Beautiful. This guy's got full of euphemisms. I've got it full of songs, and someone who's just full of it, S-H-I-T, I mean, and he epitomizes it every episode. Reidy, once again, good evening to you. How have things been for you?
Yeah, thanks, Chaza. I mean, listen, I sometimes chat the shit. You have shit haircuts. Like, we all bring some sort of shitness at some point, you know what I mean? Like, it's what we do. But listen, at the end of the day, we've got another game week coming up. We've got Pearson on the pod. Welcome back, mate. It's great to have you. Yeah, I mean, as you said at the beginning, Chaza, oh my God, FA Cup causing a fuss, people fighting again. I mean, the same person fighting twice, second time, and it just brings, you know, let's be honest. Who's got a chip strategy? What even does that mean? What even does that mean at this stage? We don't know who's doing what, when, where. And it's just chaos. But that's what we love to talk about. That's what we love to look into and probably spend our times doing. And what more better than doing it with you two gentlemen tonight? Well, this morning for Peterson, obviously.
Yes. I mean, he did also call us Upside Down World. So let's face it, we've got upside down personalities on most broadcasts for this channel. More importantly, before we get to, you wouldn't believe it, SideNet has its own mini league. And we're about to show where we are ranked in due course. But we've got to say hello to our community. They always play an important part for every episode. Gary, Addicts Assemble, good evening to you. Miriam, as always, thank you. Cole, you're talking about a song. Now, the audience have spoken. The people have especially. Speaking about chip flavors, salt and vinegar. It's ready. It's on standby. Talking about those chips. Like, where do you put the vinegar exactly? Is it on your assistant manager? Or was it on a possible free hit? Maybe even for Gameweek 29, but more importantly, 29, that's probably where the ranks of where we all are on SideNet's very own mini league. So, Reidy, you're in 31st, I'm in 35th, and we're just going by floors. Peterson's in 39th. But the reason why, I was going to say floor is lava, but floor is Latvia. Creative team name, Peterson. How did you get on for Gameweek 27?
Yeah, 27. Interesting one. I basically hit my safety score for the game week. So a bit of bench jam. I had, with Isaac out of the picture, I had Morgan Rogers 7 points off the bench. So that was very nice to see. Basically, the only highlights were the Arsenal double defense there. They did the business. I captained Mo over Cole Palmer. I went for that option because watching Chelsea every week, their forward attack just doesn't look fluid at the moment. So, and I saw more evidence of that this morning. So yeah, it was always on Mo. Mbuemo with the assist, Clivert with a thunderous shot from well outside the box. That was a great 10 points. And I can't remember, did he pull out the baby celebration? It's been so long since that game week. It's like a week ago.
In fairness, I think Andy Martin did with his latest request.
Yeah, it was just Andy Martin inside like a little baby, like ET, and that was just Andy Martin's face. Dada. As you were.
But besides those, the front line of Cunha and Wood, nothing to praise about that week. And now I have a big Cunha headache heading into this next game week.
We've got a lot to discuss because it's not just him. There's multiple players with the issue that is now presented for plenty of fantasy managers. Great stuff, Peterson. Sorry.
One thing that I find interesting, though, Chaza, here that Peterson has mentioned, is two things, actually. How do you feel about Robinson? Is the first question. I think it was 18 minutes he played. Did he get booked? I can't remember.
Double Arsenal defence too.
Yeah, double Arsenal's a thing. But that, and then the second thing is you've kept Rodgers, who's then got your 7 points. I mean, you must be, obviously, one side you're like, FFS. I might as well just say, for fuck's sake. And then the other one for Rodgers, you're like going, oh, great. You know what I mean? Everyone sold this guy and I'm getting some points from him.
Yeah, I still keep thinking, Rodgers is a great sort of 7th attacker to have because there's been a few weeks I've needed him and he's done the business. There's been other weeks I've played him and he's done nothing, but he just plays. He plays like every single game, even in the Champions League midweek. He still played 90 minutes. So he's just reliable. I've had him basically all season. So I don't really see another better 7th attacker out there at the moment. Maybe that'll change when I get to a wild card after about game week 30 or so. But yeah, at the moment, he's still in my team.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting one in terms of people getting rid of him because I do think that he would have quite easily been like a season hold, especially, Villa doubled, didn't he, in 20, oh God, when was that? 24? 25, was it? 25, sorry. But then obviously they were they're blanking in 29 and then their fixtures weren't great. I do feel like though he is still going to kind of tick over, for the rest of the season. But yeah, the Robinson one, bit unlucky that one, mate. But yeah, double Arsenal clean probably, kind of helped heal or, make you feel a little bit better about that Robinson thing. But yeah, mate, not bad going. 7?
Yeah, 57 and sitting at 5,486,000. Work to do. We move.
We move. It's a great saying. And Pete, I wanted to get your take on this fantasy season in general because a lot of major changes, especially in the game format. How have we found that in general, especially if you'd like to talk about briefly on the mystery chip, now the assistant manager, and the ability to hold 5 free transfers?
Yeah, I think the game needed something to sort of freshen it up a bit. I really like the rolling of the transfers up to 5. I think that's really good for, a lot of managers out there put a lot of work into planning their sides and it sort of rewards that side of the game. Now, I haven't been able to get to 5 transfers at all, not even close to that this season, just the way this season's gone. But for many out there, it sort of rewarded their patience and their planning. Now, the assistant manager chip, I feel we've all been punished for not taking part in the FPL Challenge game. So rather than not playing FPL Challenge, they brought FPL Challenge to us and forced it down our throats. And yeah, I don't know, just this game's all about players and points. And I mean, they can call it the assistant manager, but it's a team chip. But yeah, I think they missed a trick by actually not making it relevant to the managers. Because could you have imagined that first week of the assistant manager chip when Slot got the red card after that Everton game? Could you imagine the fallout? Like,
it's so funny.
It would have been. I mean, I had Slot, but it actually would have been hilarious. Like, imagine using that chip and getting like negative points for it. But Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that gets scrapped for next season. It's just way too powerful. 3 weeks is way too long.
Yeah. What I will say, the issue with that might have been is that initially, like red card, you're going, right, banned for next 2 games. Now, whether they'd have had to mess with something in terms of Slot wasn't banned straight away, right? So he effectively didn't. He's not missed. He missed what was the last game we played? Can't think. Newcastle.
Yeah,
is it?
He missed that.
Yeah,
And Wolves, was it?
So he's going to miss Southampton as well. So he'll basically only miss Newcastle and Southampton, which would have been now. Now at the time, obviously you got the red card for the Everton game. You'd be thinking, okay, will he miss Wolves then Villa? But then would they have had to implement the ban then, or for the Newcastle Southampton? So maybe that makes it that tricky in that sense, because once you activate that chip, you have that chip for those 3 game weeks and those 3 only. Do you know what I mean? So this is not me. This sounds like I'm trying to make an excuse for them here, but what I'm saying is that they've missed the deadline this season. So what else can happen? You know what I mean? So like this is me just trying to go, okay, well, is that the reason maybe as to maybe why they did it? But yeah, if they'd introduced the ban, say, straight away, it would have caused chaos, like you say, Peterson, and people definitely would have felt a little bit hard done by for going safe, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, great shouts from you both, especially on the assistant manager chip and the implications. Now, Reidy, I know you want to talk about the SideNet League and how we're 4 places, but let's face it, this is the more important league. You're still ahead of me by about 12 points. Look, I'll just go through my side. Similar to Reidy. All right, what logjam have we got and shit show we got to do? Well, double clean sheet in Trent and Aina, which is fabulous. Salah, I forgot what he got. Yeah, he got an assist. Bowen got an assist. Could have been a goal. And then FPL didn't make their minds up. Or I will say publicly, the 2 Circles admin team. I know who you are. And Mateta scored, and now he's been, what is it? It looks like charcoal, orange flagged, and the rest. Yeah, not much to it. So, look, 52 points. Similar to Peterson, but Peterson had that little side cutting edge about him on his own.
No big up for Mateta. How dare you? Can't believe you're thinking about Nketiah already. Chaza, Jesus, man. No thought for Mateta. He's getting you 8 points. You didn't even mention his name. Guy's got 25 stitches, banged up after Karate Kid 5 or 4 or whatever it was.
Well, yeah, he's going to be a problem to sort out. It was good to have that goal. It was a great game by Crystal Palace in general. But, yeah, he's been huge. And thanks for bringing that up. So I just don't like my team at the moment. So I'm just going to
I'm joking. It was an indirect kind of like inside joke almost. I don't know. I might have went over your head basically, but yeah, onto the catastrophe of my team. I mean, we've all got similar players, right? There or thereabouts. So it's few and far between at the moment. Double Palace, man. Who did Palace play again? Who did we say Palace played
against Villa? So Munoz got the assist.
Oh, yeah, man. Was it 1-1, that game? Was it 1-1?
No,
4-1. 4-1, yeah. Sorry. What am I talking about? 4-1. I was just hoping for the double clean again. That would have been magic, but it wasn't to be. Munoz got his assist. Also, Mbumo assist. There wasn't much to shout home about at all. I mean, Chris Wood blanking as well. Brought in Cunha a week early, punished for that. So, on to the next one. There's no more to talk about this. Oh, Timber clean, but I mean, everyone had Gabriel, I guess. So there's no thingy on that. Yeah.
On field too. Another good get.
Yeah, pretty standard game week, right? Didn't even get a green. I think I missed out by about 7 points, maybe. Yeah. But I'm still above you, Chaza, and I am above Peterson, so for now. So we'll see.
That's correct. Before we take direction into the other leagues, one thing that we have learnt since the last deadline, that being the FA Cup games in the last 16. And now we have 4 games that will definitely go ahead in Gameweek 34, it being Chelsea-Everton, Liverpool-Spurs, Wolves-Leicester City, and this is the intriguing one, Newcastle up against Ipswich, because Brighton got Newcastle, and then Ipswich lost in a shootout. Peterson was actually, I'll say SideNet. I don't know why I'm calling you by your first name. That just feels so wrong these days. Do you believe at this stage of a competition would you have anticipated there to be less games for blank game week 34, or is this probably about what you were expecting?
It's a bit hard to foresee everything. I think there's so many unknowns still. I'm like, personally, I'm trying not to get too far ahead until we get the FA Cup quarterfinals out of the way, because it just makes the rest of that season look so much clearer, because you can give yourself a headache just looking at all the different permutations, because 3 of those 4 quarterfinals are a toss of the coin. So it's not like we can sort of say, oh, well, it looks like this team, that team, and that team are probably going to win their fixtures, and then you can plan out. It's like those quarterfinals are really close. Even the City Bournemouth one, that could go any direction as well. It's only the Aston Villa Preston North End quarterfinal that looks like a clear cut one, and the rest of the games are too hard to call.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be that way, and everything's kind of leans towards odds these days. And I'm sure you boys, like myself, have used FPL Team, and if you look on the predicted games that Planet FPL put on there, or predicted fixtures, I should say, in the future game weeks, with doubles, blanks, etc. They think the likes of Brighton are going to beat Forest and other things like that. So, it's kind of like you said, Peterson, it's interesting because you try and look and plan stuff. You just end up with a headache because you go in, I need this guy. Can I basically navigate 29 without the free hit? Because the landscape of things have changed now, where you're going, actually, free hit might be better than 33. You know what I mean? Get as many get a full 11 of doublers and maximize the chip almost, because we've seen in previous seasons, like using a free hit in a blank game week, it's not great. You pretty much have the same team as everyone else, right? Because everyone's like, okay, well, this is the best team now. These teams blank, etc. So, that's kind of the way to look at it in the moment. The tricky part is what we maybe thought was going to be a great avenue for Eddie Howe for the AM chip from 31 to 33 is no longer the case, because they're now out of the FA Cup, obviously. So then it's like, oh, well, where do I go with AM now? And all right, if we've got bench boost left, what do we do with that? People who didn't triple captain in 24, 25 that used the AM, are probably kind of thinking, especially Glasner people, right? Oh my God, I've nailed it. I can use TC at some point again. Obviously, he's had doubles in 32, or Palace do as well. So if you want to go Mateta, go that way. But it kind of probably I don't know if you boys agree, actually. Does it make it easier for people who AM'd earlier in the doubles and have got their triple captain left, or not? What do you think?
It does, because there's less game weeks to deal with the chips.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it makes it really tricky. And are we going to really get, I don't think we'll get that opportunity where, especially if Palace go deep in the cup, where we're going to have the opportunity to back Glasner again, something like that, and get a 20-pointer from it. So many things have opened up now, and it's great in one sense, but I've spoke to a couple of people who've got loads of chips left. I think all their chips left or something, maybe apart from triple captain. But they're like, when do I fit these in? What do I do? I'm like, I don't know. You need to think of A and B, and maybe then get to C and D later on. Because if you try and do A, B, C, D, you're just like, yeah.
That's top. No, good stuff. Peterson, do you have a chip strategy as of yet, even despite this unclarified clout of information? It's okay if you don't.
No, I'm waiting till we get to game week 30. Once we get through those quarterfinals of the FA Cup, because then the picture is much clearer about who's playing who in what game, and we can see how big game week 33 might be, and how bad game week 34 is going to be from a blank perspective. So once we get get up to game week 30, then the picture's much clearer. And yeah, I've still got my wild card, bench boost, free hit. So three big ones to use, and I'll hopefully I find the right opportunities to play all of them. But yeah, I'm sort of thinking wild carding in between like 30 to 32 to set myself up, and because you also want to give yourself enough time with your wild card to get the most out of it. There's no point leaving it right to the end. Need to capitalize on it. But yeah, I need a bit more of a picture before I do that.
I think that's a reasonable point, an angle to take there. Public League, very quickly. Now, we do have a new leader. Unfortunately, Tom's stones aren't rolling like Rolling Stones because Bill Stewart has now taken up the top spot with a cracking 69-point outing in game week 28. Now, we'll get to Women's League very shortly, but before, we're going to talk about the big discussion point of the week, the cut, probably my favourite segment. Well, it's not really a segment because hopefully it's just a one-off with the amount of problems and maintenance that is required from us fantasy managers. The forward crisis, players getting suspended. SideNet, you got Cunha. What's your plan with him? Are you going to hold on to him or are you going to get him out?
Well, he has to go. He's going to be facing...
He has to glow. Well, who are you going to bring in?
Yeah, that's the big question. So, yeah, if I move him on this week, I only have one free transfer. But if he does go, I have been thinking of going with Marmouche just for something a little bit different. Or not, I might just roll the transfer to next week and see what I can do. But yeah, he has to go. He's not gonna hang around. And really annoying because game week 29 with that blank fixture, Wolves are up against Southampton, and in the back of my mind, Cunha was going to be my lock for captain for that game week. Now, more of a headache.
You know what we did, don't you, Peterson? Shot our load too early, mate. Shot our load too early. Simple as that. We went against Fulham. Didn't need to make that transfer. And we went for it, and we got punished, mate. We got punished. We're now sitting here with blue balls. So I'm annoyed at that. I'm annoyed at myself because it was like he was there for 29. I know exactly what you're saying. Just get him in a week early. It's Fulham at home. I think in the return fixture, the one away at Fulham, he got a couple of goals, right? I think Wolves beat them like 3-1, 4-1, or whatever it was. Really random result that you wouldn't have expected. Sorry about that, Colin, by the way. I know he's a Fulham fan. I think he's a great and Iwobi's a legend. But yeah, so it's annoying. It really is annoying because that was a guy for 29. And now we're sat here going, why? Look at the fixtures as well. Green. Oh.
Yeah, 4 great fixtures on the horizon for Wolves and Cunha, and that's gone out the window. I mean, I was lucky that I got him in a couple game weeks ago, so I got a bit of a haul from him 2 game weeks ago. But yeah, really unfortunate. But yeah, there'll be a lot of managers out there with the same situation, probably even with a Philippe Mateta in their side for this coming game week as well, and they've got a decision to make. But yeah. Shocking. Just when you think you've got everything planned, the FA Cup just flips the tables.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we're in that predicament. And I think, meanwhile, we're talking about Mateta there. I think Chaza's in the Mateta camp, obviously. What's your plan for Mateta, Chaza? Because he's going to miss Ipswich, as far as we know. But you'd expect him to be back for 30, where they've got a great fixture against Southampton. Is he just a hold for the blank game week? Can you field 11 still if you hold him, or?
Yeah, I could. This is a great question too. I don't see, because I've got 4 playing defenders. There's not much need to get a 5th defender and get rid of Trent because you want as many attackers on field as possible. Could go Christmas tree formation, but I think considering how well forwards are doing this season, despite the shortage we have at the moment, there's a need to, at a bare minimum, get to 2 strikers for the blank game week. So I think with that, Mateta's got to go. I am thinking of someone that SideNet's already mentioned. So we'll do the big team showing reveal.
You're not making a move tonight, are you? Surely not on a Thursday before presses after we've had Europe and... No. I mean, I don't mind doing it sometimes, but I think it'd be a bit unwise. And Peter, you let me know what you think. What do you think?
Yeah, I would wait maybe at least until these fixtures are finished tonight, or tonight your time, this morning my time, because
I
Although
mean,
I think most of all the English sides have finished for the night. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is deadlines tomorrow. Deadlines Saturday, early kickoff, right? But tomorrow we'll have press conferences. So what if, like, I don't know, randomly say like Isak isn't okay?
yeah,
Right?
but Eddie Howe's not going to tell us that.
Eddie's not
Howe's
going to
going
say nothing. Yeah, I know. Apparently, Eddie's been saying, or someone's been saying that Isak's injured. Next thing you know, like he's going to miss the final, and then next thing you know, he's doing photo shoots and he's eating IKEA meatballs or whatever. Lapping it up. But all I'm saying is, I just don't think there's any need to make it tonight. But you are your own man. It's your team, Chaza. You can do what you want. I can see him. He's like, I really want to do this move. Anyway, we'll see it. We'll see when the team reveals. Let us know, and then we'll tell you. We'll go, oh, actually, that's worth it, or nah, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, usually my best source of advice this season is to never listen to Reidy, but maybe I should listen to him a bit more if I'm below him in the mini league. But he's just full of it sometimes. Look at him, just sipping. He's sipping his winnings away. Oh, dear. What a crike. Some bloke to put up with. Let's face it. Right, Women's League. Because we've got an Aussie in the house, and we've also got an Aussie who's still on top. Being Mira with such a powerhouse, superior campaign she's having. 48 points she got. 14 points ahead of Georgia. But we know, especially with the chips running, anything can happen. But that's where we sit since that last update earlier in the week. So yes, look, we're talking about forwards crisis. That's it. Let's get to the fixtures to this week. So is it best to have a look at it? Is that we're looking at making moves genuinely for the next 2 weeks? Is that a fair statement, or are we sort of looking a little bit more after Gameweek 29 now too?
Yeah. I mean, you've got to look ahead, right? Because what do you mean, as in like focusing on this week? Like for me, it feels like we've got this week, but then we've got a weekend with a blank, and then we've got a big gap. So I feel like it's hard to then focus on anywhere past that, because before the Gameweek 30, which is April 1st, which is midweek also, by the way, we've got FA Cup, haven't we? Like Peterson was saying before, we'll know the outcomes and things like that. So for me, it just feels like a 2-week block of focusing on this week. Team looks fine. Do I need to make a move or not? And then 29, can I field 11 players? That feels like as far thinking as I need to do at the minute. But I don't know. You boys might be different.
yeah, I was going to be playing through 29 and going to be able to field 11 for the blank game week 29. But yeah, with like I mentioned, I'll probably end up moving Cunha on just to give me an extra body for this game week that I like. It's either that or I go to Rodgers off my bench, but I'm really worried about Villa. We've seen Villa in a bit of a malaise every time they play a European fixture. The weekend they tend to drop off quite dramatically. So that Cunha to Marmoush is looking a bit more appealing.
There's no sort of like, what's the word I can use? You basically you don't want Haaland. You're not considering Haaland at all for 29.
I am, but it would take a hit, and I'd have to roll a transfer this week. That's what I'm trying to weigh up. If I don't get in Marmoush this week, I'm rolling, and I could very well get Haaland in next week, but it would take some surgery. And then, obviously wild card out of that in 30, 31, 32, something like that. But yeah, because I am a bit worried that when we get to blank game week 29, all those free hit sides are going to have Haaland, and he's probably going to have the armband, and he's the most obvious captain pick for game week 30 as well with that Leicester fixture. So, I mean, I really don't have that much to lose at my rank at the moment, 500,000. Like I could just do it and take a bit of a shot, a bit of a punt.
Yeah. Let me try and share the fixtures, by the way, Chaza, if the guys who are watching can't see. I don't know. Can you see them?
Yeah. please, guys, let us know, because sorry about that. Yeah, that works. So it seems that this one's looking all good.
Yeah, let me know. But yeah, Peterson, I mean, think the Haaland situation. Obviously, this week, you're thinking about moving Cunha on. You know, sometimes, though, lessons learned, and especially what I was talking about before, we went a week early on Cunha. If you're to go Mamouche, right, who plays in 29, I assume that is so you've got enough players for 29, or is that your 11th player, for example, or is that a sub? So what I'm trying to say is that can the move wait till next week? Technically, have you got a good enough team this week to go? All right, Cunha's just going to have to just be there, and then come 29, I can then make that move. Like information sort of thing is that more important? I suppose.
Yeah. I could definitely roll the transfer. It's just, like I mentioned, it's relying on a Rodgers for this game week, or maybe going a fourth defender. I still need to make my decision about what I'm going to do with my side over the next few weeks, because I don't want to just be rash, make the transfer, and then think next week, if I'd done this and this, I could have actually got Haaland in. But it's something I got to toy with.
You don't want to dwell too much. But for me, I think it's probably done the opposite to me. For you, you're like, I don't want to dwell too much. I want to get someone that could potentially be good for this week.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I've got 2 frees at the moment. So I've got 2 free transfers. I could take out Hall and Cunha, for example, who are both flagged. One's out to the end of the season. One could be out to the end of the season. And Cunha, he might end up with a 7-game ban. We just don't know at this point. Kudus obviously got suspended for 3 games, then got a further 2-match ban, ended up missing 5 games. So, yeah. So I could do a similar thing, but in my head, I'm just like, if I have 3 free transfers for 29, I could maybe take a hit. I don't know if I'm going to yet, but I've got 3 transfers, which feels like, compared to last season, what was it, 2 frees, max 3 frees, just feels really good for 29. And I'm just scared of going, I've not got 11 for 29 now, because someone's either been suspended or injured, and that sort of thing. But it's interesting that we've both got different approaches in that sense. How are you feeling in relation to that, Chaza? Are you similar, being a bit cautious, a bit more reserved, or are you just thinking, I think it's different for Chaza from what you were saying before. You've already got 3 playing defenders, right, for 29?
I've got 4, yeah.
You got 4, you know what I mean? So that's all for you. I guess more for you, it's maybe your strikers, like we said, Mateta's an issue, and whether we want to move anyone else on. So I think for me and you, Peterson, it sounds like it's a little bit trickier, especially if you have less transfers. Obviously, that can make it a ball ache, can't it? So yeah, but fixtures wise, boys, what are we liking about these?
I do actually want to say thanks, guys, for the heads up on this screen glitch, because it was a bit bizarre. So I had to try and sort something out. So we'll see how long it lasts, but we've got it on our screen. But sorry, Reidy, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all good. It's all good.
Thanks to the crowd for spotting that, especially Pete on the SideNet on that front. So, yeah. Sorry, Reidy, you go with the question.
All good. Yeah, so some good fixtures this week actually coming up. I mean, I really like the look of Spurs Bournemouth. I think that should be interesting, with Spurs having a few of their players back. Obviously, rotation wise, there's that game last night, which I didn't really want to mention, because I know there's a lot of people on Twitter today that don't like Liverpool at the minute. Let's say we got a bit lucky last night. Let's say we should have probably got beat last night. And if it wasn't for Alisson, I mean, unbelievable. But that game on Saturday, Liverpool-Southampton, rotation, or minutes risks. That's all I'm going to say. So the game I'm going to pick is going to be, it is the Spurs-Bournemouth game. I'm going to go for that one. Mainly because, A, I've got 2 Bournemouth players. Sorry, should put it that way. And B, I just think it could end up being a really good game. Obviously, Spurs have been beat tonight in Europe. They'll want to bounce back from that. Bournemouth have conceded in the last 4. He's not been great defensively. Obviously, there's question marks around Dango as well. So I think that'll be an interesting clash, and just under pressure, again. So it's not for the first time this season. So I'm gonna pick that game for me, boys. What about you?
You go, SideNet.
I just want to add with that Bournemouth Spurs fixture. So yeah, on paper that looks good, but I think it's just a great opportunity for us all with Bournemouth assets because Big Ange has openly said that the Europa League is their most important competition. So they've played the strongest side they had. They've played this morning and they haven't won. So if there's anyone with any niggles or anything, they're not featuring in this Bournemouth game. Ange is keeping them fit for next week. And I know Chaza, a man with a glorious mullet. You may be a bit saddened to have seen the photos of Kirkes. He's actually shaved off his mullet this week.
Oh no!
I think the effects of getting in that scrap with Cunha has rattled him a little bit. So Chaza, I think you now have the undisputed best mullet in the UK. So,
well, speak of that, and you're talking about scrap. We could get into a scrap. No, I really hope not. But because on Saturday, first time doing this, we're off to an FPL meets event in this country.
Excellent.
Comes a quadruple header. I can't actually last that long. I've got to catch a coach back in Somerset for a 3-hour bike ride on the Sunday morning. 0 degrees would never recommend. But on what you said, the fixture I'm going to pick has to be your cheeky lunchtime kickoff because we've seen that rise in interest in City assets. Forest are somewhat relevant still. It's Forest City. I just reckon it's going to be a belter. We'll see what the litmus test is for Nuno's side because let's face it, he gave, what was it? Aina gave Nuno a piggyback even after a cup win, and maybe we might see a reenactment of it on Saturday. But that's a juicy one, isn't it? To just kick off for game week after the FPL Towers intern yet again forgets to press that deadline button.
Yeah, hopefully they hold off activating the deadline, and the team sheets come out. We can have a sneaky look and then make our transfers. But heading into this part of the season for the first time, we've been so conditioned over the years since Pep's been in the league that City just mass rotate for they've always had massive fixture congestion with Europe commitments and FA Cup, League Cup, the league. Whereas now all they've got to fight for is top 5 and an FA Cup. So we know Pep's going to be putting out his strongest 11. It's more those fringe players like, the Grealish, the Dokus that are a little bit concerning, but, they're not really fantasy relevant anyway. So we're not really touching them. But, a lot of managers looking to invest in City. I dare say, he had a really bad start to the season, but if anyone's looking for a cheap defender to bring into their side that does play game week 29, like Kusanov's been really impressive for City the last few weeks. He's actually super quick and got a pretty decent tackle on him.
What about his football?
His football's actually not that bad. I think once he got over that shaky start in that first fixture against Chelsea, he hasn't been too bad. But a cheaper option than going with someone like a Vardiol, who could end up playing a bit more central defense with, Akanji's going to be out rest of the season. Ake's always injured, and John Stones is John Stones, so you never know.
So I'm just checking that. Yeah, the transfer screen's popped up. I actually got the stream next to me in case something does not pop up. So transfer trends. We know there's a lot of areas that are just full of surprises. So if you had to pick one area of your own choice, SideNet, you go first. Reidy next, and I'll just pick up the leftovers.
As in a fixture that'll be a surprise?
No.
Or a transfer?
Yeah, the transfers. A genuine surprise.
Oh, gee. Well, what's interesting is seeing, a few days ago, Cunha and Mateta were the top transfers in, and now Cunha's the top transfer out. And, Mateta's featuring in both top 5s there. Palmer being moved out ahead of that Leicester fixture is, I know the form's not great, but the fixture's still absolutely tremendous. He's still going to play in that. He wasn't great this morning against Copenhagen, I must say. He basically had Chelsea's only shot for the first half of the game. I do like I see Soboslai there. Like he's cheekily like turning into a next gen Gerrard at the moment, playing that, awesome number 8, taking shots from the edge of the box. He's been really fun to watch. Reidy, you must enjoy watching Dominic Soboslai at the moment.
Yeah, it's nice for him to finally kind of have that sort of influence on games where he's capable of scoring goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he first come in, people who are into football, and if you've ever, known from an international level, he plays for Hungary and he plays as part of a front three there, and he's on set pieces, etc. And when he's come to Liverpool, like he kind of coasted a little bit. It's the big games he's gone missing in as well, which has been really frustrating because, as we've seen in this season, I suppose, he's got legs, he's got an engine on him, you know what I mean? And if he can add these other things, his assists and his goals to it, listen, this isn't me saying he'll be as good as, but, a Kevin De Bruyne, someone who's literally capable of doing everything. So it's been nice to see. In terms of people transferring him in, I mean, I don't know if people know. I know we've got Southampton, but we've then got a blank. So this does feel like a very much knee-jerky, oh, wow, look what he's done last 2 games sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised to see him in there, as I'm sure you boys are. But yeah, great sort of player at the minute. Really enjoying watching him.
Do you think that for that Southampton game, he probably might get rolled for like Curtis Jones for that Southampton fixture, so he's fit for the PSG return leg?
That's exactly that. And like I alluded to before, we're going to see some rotation. And that game now, even though we've got that 1-0, I expect PSG to come at us exactly the same way they did last night. They didn't put a foot wrong. They should have scored, etc. And they were just unlucky because they came up against a really, really top keeper in Alisson. So he's going to have to be cautious, Slot, because the Plymouth game in the FA Cup, he rotated massively, didn't take some of the big guns. We saw what happened there. So he's got to be careful that he doesn't kind of drop any points in this game. He wants to get it secured. So I'd go with some of the big guns. I think your Trents, your Salahs, they'll start. But I do think Szoboszlai could potentially be rested because he is legs, and we needed that last night. You know what I mean? We didn't have enough of it, if anything.
Great stuff. Yeah, let's see on the transfer moves front. Right, differentials before we get to our sides. Who are the best differentials for the next 2 weeks in isolation?
Best differential. I mean, someone who's in there is Wissa. Oh my God. I mean, I had him at one point in the season and I just he's a great pick. I'm going to keep hold of him. Obviously, he's gone through a little patch there where he didn't return in about 4 games. The last 2 weeks he's returned, albeit, easy fixture against Leicester. And, easy-ish fixture against Everton because Everton have been good lately, actually. But yeah, Wissa, man, plays in 29. Brentford's fixtures aren't they're not that bad. They're going to play Newcastle. In 30? Who will have come off the back of the FA Cup? The League Cup final. They've got injuries, things like that. Bournemouth have conceded goals, but they've also got home games against Villa and against Chelsea. So it's not that bad. Would I be going for him? I probably won't. I've had him already. I've owned him, and I've already got Bumo. And I think at some point I will be moving Bumo on after 30. So he's probably not for me, Wissa. But yeah, I can see why people will be going for him.
That's fair.
Anything for you boys in there?
Differentials.
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, 2 weeks is a little bit tricky with the blank game week, but there might be managers out there that just need an option for this coming game week. And Eddie Nketiah, Eddie the Eagle, as I should say, he's coming up against Ipswich this game week. He's scored in his last 2 appearances for Palace, so he's finally got that bogey off his back where he's scored for his new club. We've seen in the past when he's relied upon. When he was at Arsenal, he was actually pretty reliable, fairly cheap. But yeah, it sort of depends on what your strategy is for 29 because he's obviously not playing in 29. But an uber differential for game week 28.
Yeah, that's true. What on the players transferred in and out, Chaza, if you just switch back to that a sec, I noticed that there was no City in the top 5. But is anyone bringing City in the top transfer there? Is anyone bringing City in this week?
I'll have a look for you.
Are you all right, where are you going? What are you doing, Chaza? Come on, son. There you go.
Yeah. Marmouche. I'm trying to find Haaland. There's Haaland and then Vardiol. They're still way behind the pecking order.
Okay, so people aren't going for it. I mean, João Pedro is an interesting one. He plays in 29, funnily enough, against City. And, people have either been unlucky in the sense they've benched him, but lucky in the sense that if you had Gakpo, was it Gakpo, that he didn't play or something that week, and people got points. So 20 points in 2 weeks from João Pedro. Is he an option potentially? I think some people might go there, especially at his price point, 5.4. He's pretty cheap, and you can get to Haaland if you've got enough transfers, by buying him. So yeah, I think that'll be one to look out for. And I think come game week 30, when we know the cup outcomes, if Brighton go through, they're blank in 34. And they potentially have a double in 33, which might be a bit juicy, I'm sure it's like Chelsea and Southampton. So yeah, maybe a Pedro could be on the menu post 30, pre 30.
Great shouts all around. Let's face it. So that's all the differentials, transfers, and fixtures done. Reidy, just want to double check. I usually forget something. Have I forgotten anything that might be worth talking about?
Probably forgot that I need to shoot in 2 minutes, which is fair. I don't blame you.
No, thanks for letting me know. Did you want to show your side?
Yeah, I'll get my team on there for the game week, just so I can let you boys take the floor and talk about some more interesting stuff than what I've got to talk about. But yeah, my team for game week 28 is as follows.
Right,
not bad with the old, Ipswich double up at the back, Ipswich defence. So I'm hoping for a clean sheet this week. Oh, go on, Chaza. I feel like you're going to say
Reidy,
something.
you might want to read your team now out, only because your screen is actually not showing.
Oh, it's not showing? Oh.
Yeah, so just say the team sheet out as it is.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. Let's go for it. So it's Henderson at home against Ipswich. Munoz at home against Ipswich. Then I've got Trent against Southampton at home. Timber away at Man United. Midfield of Salah, Cliver, Palmer, Dango, and Mbumo. And then up top, it's Chris Wood and Isak. The bench is a bit thin. I've got Cunha and Hall, so my subs are basically Pickford and Mikolenko, which might not be too bad. Some people might start those guys, especially that Wolves haven't got Cunha this week, so it might be a good fixture. But I feel like Henderson and Munoz at home against Ipswich is a better one. Would you agree, lads?
Yeah, I agree there.
Yeah. Captain currently on Salah. I do expect him to play at least 60, maybe 70. So at the minute it is on Salah. I think after what happened last week against Southampton, Palmer should have scored. He should have got a return. But obviously he's not doing great in terms of confidence. He's not got on the score sheet or assisted tonight in the Conference League. So even though it is Leicester, and in my opinion, I think Leicester are worse than Southampton, I just don't know if I can bring myself to it. I don't want to try and be too fancy again, and I'm just going, do you know what? I'm just going to stick it on Salah. So yeah, that's my team for this week, boys.
So what moves did you say you're doing?
None. No moves. Rolling.
Oh, okay.
Roll 2 free transfers. Roll 3 for 29. Bash.
Gosh, I like it. Top stuff. Brilliant. All right.
But yeah, that's me done for the night. It's been great chatting, Peterson, and obviously getting on with you again, Chaza. Hope you enjoy your day, Peterson, because I know it's an early one for you. A couple more coffees maybe needed.
A lot more copies. Great to see you again, Reidy.
Oh yeah, good to see you and speak to you as well. But yeah, enjoy, lads, and have a good game week as well. Hopefully not too good though, so I can stay up there.
You're gonna miss a Teddy Swim special, so
catch you soon.
Catch up.
See you, buddies.
Top stuff. Beautiful. Yeah. So now he's gone, mate. It's just so good to spend some time with you. It's like a bit of a Aussie band finally back. Considering I actually haven't been in the space for a while, and we'll get to your team shortly. How, if you wanted to say also out loud, because I know the majority of us watch from the UK, how has the Aussie community been this season? And maybe just a bit of insight to people. What makes that community so special for what it is?
Yeah, I think we're lucky with our Aussie FPL community. We really have a no dickheads policy, don't we? So we've got a great group of managers out there. Everyone bounces off each other. So we've been lucky that a lot of us have sort of caught up on a couple of occasions before, which is great. We all support each other. Like everyone does their things, and we all support each other. There's no angry competition. Like we all legitimately want everyone to do really good with what they're doing. We always see and hear familiar voices across all the various shows. So I think it's really great from that perspective. We got a great group of characters there, and we all love to have a bit of a laugh too.
Has there actually been any catch-ups recently, just of curiosity?
Well, not from myself in Melbourne. I this year's been really tough. As you know, we've been trying to organise like this stream for about 4 months.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I do appreciate it.
No, that just for one reason or another, I just haven't been able to make it work. But yeah, and from my point of view, I haven't been able to organise anything in Melbourne. But I know the Sydney crews have done a few catch ups, which is great. So very jealous. I think I might need to head up there sometime soon and catch up with everyone.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm just trying to get up your team at the moment. Hopefully this actually works in terms of doing this little trick. So I did forget the request, and I'm sorry about you trying to stay your side for game week 28. So the best way to look at it is this side that you have at the moment. What's your plan heading into it?
So plan one is basically just dropping Cunha to the bench and starting Mykolenko. Yeah, a back three of Mykolenko with the double Arsenal defense, and then the midfield five, as you see there, with Wood and Isak up top. That's the one option if I'm thinking of getting Haaland in for the next few game weeks and rolling the transfer. The other option is rolling Cunha to Marmoush and playing Marmoush instead of Rodgers this game week. So I do like the defense for this week. United are not generating a lot of shots. They don't look great up top. So I'm fairly confident in that Arsenal double defense, and hopefully Timber can get another goal like he did against PSV Eindhoven during the week in the Champions League. So I mean, there's nothing too outrageous with my side. It's very, very vanilla, very stock standard for this time of the season. But hopefully there's some points and some green arrows on the horizon.
Yeah. So how many players would you have for blank game week 29? So do you see there's a couple of Aston Villa, there's Salah and Alexander Isak. So what are you going to do for next week?
Yeah, I can get to an 11 for 29. So like the options I have is trying to roll Cunha to a Haaland, and then it might be a case of maybe using Palmer as a bit of a cash cow and flipping Rodgers. But yeah, I've got some thinking to do. The other option is just Cunha to Marmoush, and then next week I can swap a Rodgers to someone else. Because I don't want to lose Salah. He's just such a great option. He's at almost averaging a double attack and return every week. So he's just a player I'd be using a transfer to get straight back in anyway. And Isak, depending if Isak plays this week, I'm not too sure.
Honestly, great plans, and it's systematic, and I think that's probably an important aspect into your side. I really like the difference in the double Arsenal defense too. So thank you, SideNet, for that.
Thank you.
You got Cunha. I've got someone now.
actually, SideNet, it's best for you to explain this joke that's come across Twitter. What's going on with the Cunha Mateta? What's the go there?
Cunha Mateta. It means more worries for the rest of your FPL side. That's what a Cunha Mateta means. So I'm fortunate that I only have one, but so many managers out there have both. And I think if you got to prioritize a transfer between the two of them, it's definitely Cunha, because you know he's going to be missing at least 3 fixtures where by the time game week 30 rolls around, that's April. So it's after the international break. So, you know, Mateta could be back in the side by then. We're just not too sure. But yeah, Cunha would definitely be the role there. But I reckon top option for managers out there looking for a forward would be Chris Wood. He's great this season, and he's got arguably the best fixture in game week 29 up against Ipswich. So yeah, if managers don't have, you know, they've got that issue with the flags in their front line and don't have Chris Wood, well, yeah, you got to go the Kiwi.
He's got Man United in game week 32. Now, the community, for those who've still decided to tune in, thanks so much, and thank you for bearing with us with his screen glitches too this evening. And I've been glitching about like we usually do, glitching and switching, the motto. Pete, I want you to take on this too. So we are currently on, the last time I checked was 2 free transfers. Yeah, correct. And 0.2 in the bank. Now, looking at this, we could get away with just rolling this week and just making a proposed move next week. Colm, Osbike, Joe, want to hear what you're thinking. Is it worth doing a Mateta to someone this week, or could we wait till next week?
I honestly, I think you could possibly wait with the Mateta if your plan is, yeah, you're going through 29. You know, the other side of, you know, from when you get to game week 30, it's really good for Palace there. And yeah, if Mateta's back in the picture, you'd want him straight back, wouldn't you?
Well, that's the thing, yeah. So
yeah,
right now for next week, we'll be on 10 because Isaac, Salah, Trent, and then Mateta. Now, this is a good point. So I'm not going to get rid of Trent next week because that means having 5 playing defenders, and it's kind of not what you want. You want as many attackers as possible. Osbike is saying Visser. Now, with my point in this, I want to have Reidy next week. And if Visser comes in, that's 4 players in the same game. It being Howson, Dango, Mbumo, Visser. Too much in one game when there's only 8 fixtures. So I'm thinking it's someone who's either going to be playing Southampton v Wolves or Man City v Brighton. So the favourite, I believe, is bringing in Marmouche. Joe's saying I'd wait, which is probably fair enough. The only worry I have is Dango's minutes. But I think if you've got such a systematic squad and there's already a problem presented, it gives opportunity for someone coming off the bench. So it could be Dango's time.
Yeah, the other option there is, you know, maybe you could drop Isaac possibly, and then get him back in when you wildcard down the track, because he would also free up some funds for you. But yeah, I mean they're both great options. Like, we're sort of going into the game weeks in the unknown without any real time frame for Mateta. Like there's no it's not like a calf or a hamstring where you can sort of go, oh yeah, that's like 6 weeks, or that's going to be 2 weeks. Like a lacerated eardrum with 25 stitches, we have no idea how long that takes to recover.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine for game week 30, which is at the start of April. It's just a matter of if Mateta goes. Whatever, yeah. Even if it's a roll this week, Mateta goes next week, only because you're not getting rid of Salah. And I don't think I'd want to get rid of Isaac because Mateta's already blanking, so he's already missing 2 weeks. So may as well field Isaac this week, who's actually got a fixture. Would this Marmouche or even Beto? Now, Beto's a funny one because it means having 2 Everton players, for Wolves, Everton, and then Everton, West Ham means having 3. So I genuinely like variety. So I reckon it's going to be Mateta to Marmouche. It's just a matter of, please tell me, chat, please tell me, Pete, this week or next week. Because I don't think it's the right week to bring in a City asset away at the City ground.
Yeah, I think for you, looking at your side, you could wait till next week because, you know, who knows what headaches are going to come up from game week 28 that you got to tackle in game week 29. So at least that way, the play you're getting for, to really fill that void in 29 is going to be available for that game week. So I think looking at your side for now, you could definitely roll.
All right. Well, unfortunately, team, case dismissed. We're going to roll. That's how it's going to go. So if there was going to be a transfer, it would be right now, and we've slammed the window shut for next week. So that's my side done. But more importantly, we've got Captain's Corner. We've got a bit of twist. Cole might be reasonably pleased on this because we've got a song. So bear with me. I'll get you back on SideNet, onto the radar shortly. So from the song, The Door by Teddy Swims, unfortunately, Chris Reidy's missing out. It goes as this. I took a page out of your transfer groove. You saw me hits just by the early moves. Taught me a red card that I've always seen. Gordon ain't that for me. Cunha ain't that for me. He's jinking cast Mateta. Stretch it too. You took me transfer panic that I always knew. Too many times he's limped off. He's act 2. I've seen a chaotic man with a 3-match ban. Then we go to the chorus. I'd said I would bank moves, baby. FA Cup pain to the core. I thought we were willing, but tonight I've set my mind, showing Cunha the door. Bang! All right, so we've got the Captain's Corner now, and we're starting with Mohamed Salah. There was even an article from the Scout this week of triple captain discussion, but rotation and his possible minutes could be under threat with Slot maybe managing some players heading into the second leg at Anfield against Paris Saint-Germain. However, he probably should start. This is why it could be a history-making Saturday afternoon. All the Egyptian needs is 13 points to eclipse his personal best in a single fantasy campaign, which was all the way back in 2017-18 with 303 points. 30 more points gets him to 304. Guess how many points he produced in game week 12 against the Saints, which haven't been marching in all season? That was 13 points. The Saints have conceded 3 goals in 7 of their last 8 matches across all competitions. However, with his minutes, he has been named in all of Liverpool's 28 starting 11s in the league this season. Cole Palmer. Now, I know, look, so Pete was on Baywatch when it came to Cole Palmer earlier in the Copenhagen League, or should we say whatever the league Enzo Maresca's ended on, because Chelsea had a crap season last campaign. Palmer home to Leicester. He had 7 shots last week against the Saints, despite him blanking as about as of a war as Mo Salah in a 9-0 home win over Bournemouth a couple of seasons back, and Kai Havertz 7-0 against Norwich a few seasons ago. Do we all remember that? On the let's do the time warp again. However, his 99 points at home this season is only second to Mohamed Salah, in which the Egyptian has achieved 109. The Foxes have shipped the most goals of any side away from home this season with 34, dating back from game week 7 last season. This ice cold baby has got an exceptional track record against promoted sides. In his 8 games, he's achieved 7 goals and 4 assists. Brian Mbeumo and Johan Vissa. And you know why I mention them? Because they are back at the G-Tech Stadium at home to Aston Villa. For Mbeumo, he's achieved 95 of his points this season from home games, which is ranked 3rd across all players in the player base with 9 goals and 6 assists. Villa have got such a horrific record in the games after a Euro. What is it? Champions League out. Stuff that one up. With only having won one of their last 9 away matches too on the road, they are just shocking. Jared Bowen, he's facing a Newcastle side without 2 of their influential stars in Hall and Gordon. If Eddie Howe wants to make it a hat-trick, Isak's not going to turn up as well. So that could be 3. But Bowen, he's been on fire recently, 20 points from what I can recall within the last couple of game weeks, a couple of double-digit 10-point hauls in between too. Ollie Watkins could be another one. It's a cheeky curveball. In the same game at the G-Tech, he's got an exceptional record against his home side, who he used to represent for in the championship. in that being the base. He scored in each of his last 3 meetings against Thomas Frank's men, 34 points in the last 3 outings. That is all for your Captain's Corner. And for this segment, I'm going to show myself. Maybe we show Cunha the door. Showing Cunha the door. But I'm bringing SideNet back in my life. We're back. Right, there you go.
Wow, I don't know where to begin. I'm just in awe. I was hypnotized by the beautiful song. So thank you for gracing the people with that. First of all, I just want to say that the slander for the Europa Conference League will not stand. You're lucky I'm still here. I was gonna leave.
I'm so sorry, but Conference League, yeah.
Don't let me go all Will Smith, Chris Rock on you. Get my European competition name out of your mouth. No, but look, from a captaincy perspective, with Palmer having played this morning as well, that sort of conversation is off the table. My armband has been on mode the whole time. Southampton are pretty awful. Palmer played 70 odd minutes this morning, was not that great. So yeah, that I've seen nothing to sway me away from Mo. And like you said, he's only 13 points away from, equaling or setting a new FPL record of his. So he could easily do that in one half of football against Southampton.
Big time. Well, that does it for me and our pod. But SideNet, I'm going to let you take a floor. And thank you very much for joining in. But is there anything you'd like to give a shout out to? Any members of the community, any channels or where you're self-employed, just to sort of get yourself out there, maybe back on the radar? Yeah.
Look, I'll give myself a plug for our podcast, the FPL SideNet podcast. 2 guys who love talking about a game within a game with my co-host Andrew at FPL_Point Break. So yeah, we're weekly podcast. If you haven't tuned in, this is our 5th season now. So been going for a fairly long time this week. Also earlier this week, I appeared on the FPL Press Play USA podcast with Brian and Bucks, 2 great guys. So give them a listen and follow too. They're doing great things in the US community. But yeah, you can find me on all the socials at FPL SideNet. The X, the Instas, MySpace, whatever we're using, Gumtree, if you want to sell me something. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Chaz. It was great to catch up and
honestly
have a chat, fellow. I know you're over there in the UK, but you're Melburnian at heart. Footy's back. Footy's sort of back this weekend.
For reminding me, it's back tonight. Are you excited?
No, because I'm sorry to all the UK listeners out there. We're going to talk about a bit of Aussie rules football. They're doing this stupid opening round thing, which has fallen flat on the face because, far North Australia, Queensland is facing a cyclone this week. So to any of our friends over there in Queensland, I hope you're staying safe because it's going to get really nasty there the next few days. So hopefully you're you're bunkered down. I've been talking to a few mates up in Queensland. They're preparing for the worst. So good luck to everyone up there. But yeah, they've cancelled the opening fixtures there for the footy, and only a couple games in Sydney this week before we get to the real stuff next weekend.
That's right, yeah. And for anyone that wants to tune in, AFL can be broadcast on TNT Sports in this country, or you could get the Watch AFL app, which has been the biggest game changer since I got here. I absolutely love it, especially the cyclone updates from our pundits back home. One last thing, you talked about the pod you appeared on early in the week. How was it, and what actually made it like a really good platform whilst being on?
It was a lot of fun. So a little bit of an issue on my end because I got the time difference wrong. So I was about 10 minutes late in the end, but Brian, who's one of the hosts, I think he's sitting 3K at the moment in FPL, and he's got like 4 or 5 transfers up his sleeve, most of his chips. So he's on for a great season. And Bucks is sort of similar to myself in where we're sitting in the season, but they're both big Chelsea fans as well. So we've been chatting Chelsea for quite a while, and just nice to sort of interact. That's the great thing about FPL and the community. Like I mentioned before, like you end up interacting with so many great people, and we all end up helping each other out and doing different things with each other. And just another great experience to have.
Yeah, that's it. And honestly, thanks guys for the questions. And in fairness, I should probably get to them. Pete, if you want to answer some, by all means, go for it. I promise not to take up too much of your time. If you're wanting to wildcard in Gameweek 31, now this is a genuine trend. FPL post updates on a Friday, so please watch out. That's what I will say. There. Does Salah get 90 minutes? Yes or no?
No, I don't think he will. Yeah. But he can do damage in like 30 minutes. He could do damage if I still think he's going to start. And I think he's going to get around like the 70 odd minutes. That's plenty of time for Mo to absolutely put Southampton to the sword.
Differential in Cuckoo, do you rate the pick?
I do. I just think if you were doing that differential, it would have been more beneficial to have done it the previous game week, because you would have got the Southampton and the Leicester fixture. But Nkuku came off the bench this morning against Copenhagen. He played the second half. Wasn't great, but no one in that Chelsea side was great this morning. But a great fixture for him. He's going to be leading the line against Leicester.
That's good. That was actually a wrong click there. So you did well to just talk about what you had to in general. So fair play. And last one from Old Spike, Jorginho from Brighton.
Yeah, Jorginho Root has been, I think he was Brighton's like most expensive transfer. And he's starting to prove it. He's really pulling the strings. He's almost playing, I don't know, not like the number 10, because João Pedro plays more like a number 10, but he goes under the radar because our attention often with Brighton goes to like Matoma and Pedro and Welbeck. But I know Matoma picked up a bit of an injury in the FA Cup, so he's a little bit 50-50 at this stage. But that's an uber differential, 0.6%. No one owns him. Like Ozspike says, he's been fantastic and could easily get a return against Fulham.
Fair one. Certainly one to consider from a Seagull point. Once again, SideNet, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Chaza. Thanks for having me. Thanks to everyone out there in the chat. And thanks for telling us about the screen issues while Chaza was frantically trying to fix it in the background.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for the input, community. Blank Gameweek 29 back probably on the Friday next week. So much to discuss, and we'll see who's able to field an XI. Until then, best of luck this game week. And if you're part of our FPL Towers, make sure you press the button at the right time and don't leave it 20 minutes late. Thank you very much. Catch you on the other side. Rolling match day.